we are getting closer towards the country's historic hosting of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. It will be held from the 1st to the 4th of November this year. Antigua and Barbuda will then be the smallest country to ever host Chogm. Chogm, of course, is the meeting of heads of government of the 56 member nations of the Commonwealth. In all, 2.7 billion people live in these 56 nations, and the heads of government and the other delegations will be descending here in Antigua and Barbuda, converging here for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. So there is intense preparations. The country is now a hive of activity in preparations for Chogm. One of the preparations will be seen on the streets of St. John's tomorrow. Exercise Stronghold will begin tomorrow. It will also be held on Friday. It's a 3-day exercise, but the main part that the public will see in terms of traffic changes, disruptions, restrictions will be tomorrow and Friday. So what will this mean for you in terms of your commute, where you live and where you work in St. John's? Joining us this evening is a powerful lineup of members of the security forces, representing both the Defense Force and the Police Force. To my immediate right is Deputy Commissioner of Police, Louisa Benjamin Kwashi. DCP Kwashi is a key member of the Police's task force, planning and preparing for Chogm 2026, and a key member of ensuring that everything goes according to plan tomorrow, and if it doesn't, well, tomorrow and Friday, and if it doesn't, they will make tweaks to that to ensure that when November comes, the country is ready for, in terms of the security perspective, to host Chogm. To DCP Kwashi's right is ACP Samuel Joseph. ACP Joseph is the officer in charge of the St. John's District, that's District A, and he's also a key member of the Police's Planning and Preparation Task Force as well. To ACP Joseph's right is Superintendent Elson Kwame. He's the head of the traffic division in the police force and also a key member of his task force preparing for the event. And to Superintendent Kwame's right is Captain Travis Pennyfeather, who is in charge of operations and training in the Antigua and Barbuda Defense Force. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's start off with you, DCP. So, Exercise Stronghold. Tell me a little bit about it. What should the public know about Exercise Stronghold?
Well, it's happening. It is definitely happening, and it starts tomorrow, the 8th, until the 10th. As was previously indicated, on the 9th, we will have an exercise, but it will not infringe in any way on the public's movement, be it vehicular or pedestrian. On the 8th, we have what we call a soft lockdown, and that means that persons' movement will be restricted from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. within the red zone, and we'll get to what is entailed as it relates to the red zone. And that's the soft lockdown on the Wednesday. On Friday the 10th now, we're looking at the hard lockdown, and that starts from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay, so let me go as it relates to the soft lockdown. The red zone, the city will not be on total shutdown. The areas that will be affected, as was indicated, is the red zone. So persons will have access to the city. They will be able to move around in the city with the exception of High Street, where we will be conducting our main exercise. Corn Alley will be accessible, Market Street, Thames Street, the lower portion. So going down Corn Alley, you're not allowed to turn left. However, anything on the right side or the western side, persons will be able to access the city through those areas.
That's tomorrow, that's Wednesday.
That's Wednesday. Okay. On Friday, now, let me go back to the soft lockdown. So persons who are not yet parked within the city area prior to 8 a.m., they will be allowed to park at ARG, for example, Antigua Girls High School, Antigua Grammar School, Rising Suns Cricket Grounds. Those private parking area on the lower portion of the city, those will also be accessible to members of the public for vehicular traffic. On Friday now, the hard lockdown, those alternate parking areas will not be accessible. And that is because we are working towards as close of a picture for the actual day of Chogm in November. And so that is why we're calling it a hard lockdown. Whereas we are not saying that persons cannot conduct business within the city area. The red zone, which will be explained, they won't be able to access via vehicle or pedestrian for that particular day, which is the 10th. From 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. Businesses on the western side of Cornwall will not be as affected as those directly within the red zone. However, their movements may become a little delayed, so you'll have to plan in advance because the usual routes to get into the city will not be readily available. And so those areas will be discussed by Superintendent Kwame. The red zone will be discussed by ACP Joseph.
Good. Of course, we're going to get
what we did in preparation, though, on Friday of last week, we took to the streets, and so we walked. We spoke to business owners, we spoke to residents within the red zone area, and we would have sensitized them. We had some concern, but for the most part, they were receptive, they were willing, and I can say that they were cooperative. They are somewhat excited. You know, when we're doing something new, persons are a little hesitant, but I think the engagement would have answered a number of their questions, and so we're in a better position to make any adjustments, especially when it comes to the actual preparation. With that being said, I'll allow Mr. ACP Joseph to speak to the red zone. We're
going to get to the red zone. Just before we get to ACP Joseph and Superintendent Kwame and Captain Benefeather, DCP Kwashi, let's talk about, is it that this exercise Stronghold is in preparation for the opening ceremony, which will be at the National Performing Arts Center? Is that it, or for the entire 4 days of the event?
No, it will be specifically to the opening ceremony. What we're doing is specifically to the opening ceremony. What I can say from now is there is going to be another event on the 3rd within the city area also, but because the area would already be on lockdown, then it would not really affect anything. What we did not do this time around, we did not extend the period to cover that length. As long as we can get it right for the first event on that particular day in the city, we know that everything is definitely working and is in place.
Okay. When you say the 3rd of which month?
November for Chogm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So here now is, and by the way, you'll be able to ask your questions a bit later on. So I'm pretty sure that you're listening very intently. If you still haven't gotten an answer to your question, please, we'll, a bit later on in the show, we have, some of the most senior members of both forces here to discuss that issue with you, so they'll be able to answer your questions. ACP Joseph, so you're in charge of the St. John's District, District A, and a crucial member of this planning committee alongside DCP Kwashi and Superintendent Kwame, alongside other members of the police force as well. Explain for me the red zone, because individuals will want to know, am I in the red zone? Do I work in the red zone? Do I live in the red zone? And what will happen tomorrow and Friday? So let's talk about the perimeters of the red zone.
Thank you very much. Now, I want to join with DCP Kwashi in again stressing that the city is not being locked down. Now, the area identified for the exercise is from Connolly. Let's start from the northern end of Connolly. You go Upper Newgate Street, go straight up to Cross Street. You make that left over to the roundabout. You make the right going east. Some people call it Upper Bishopgate Street, but we're using Old Palm Road for now. Go straight up to the next roundabout between Government House and this stadium.
That's ARG.
ARG. Continue east up Old Palm Road to that road between T and Kernan School and going across the Teachers Place, where it connects to Factory Road. You then make a left, goes east to Parliament Drive. You make the right on Parliament Drive, you go right over to Queen Elizabeth Highway. You make the right on Queen Elizabeth Highway, you go down to Independence Drive. Then you make a slight incline and you make a right on New Street. Go all the way down where it meets Connolly. That is the zone.
It's a pretty wide zone.
That is the zone, and that is hence the reason for the exercise. We would have explained to the citizens that we would have met with, this is a testing period for us. If there's need for us to reduce or expand the cordon based on our security observation on Wednesday, we will do so. If it is reduced, we'll come back to the public and inform them of the reduction and where the reduction is from. Now, as DCP Kwashi would have said, no movement is restricted on Connolly. You can traverse Connolly going west, St. John Street, all the way over going to coming around campsite. All those areas are still open. Okay?
That's both tomorrow and Friday?
Both tomorrow and Friday.
Okay.
Right? For the soft lockdown, as DCP Kwashi would have said, within that zone, if you're parked within that zone before 8 a.m., we allow you to stay there and you may go about your business on foot. However, because of the planned exercise for Wednesday, we will be on High Street totally, so we will not allow traffic, foot movement on that area. There are some specific indicators that we need to look for during the assessment, and we don't want distraction during that time. Right?
So pause for a second, please, ACP Joseph. This is crucially important because we're talking about the red zone here. We're going to talk about parking with Superintendent Kwame in terms of that area and traffic movements and so on. We're going to get to Captain Pennyfeather in terms of the role of the ABDF and how you work closely together.
Yes.
So tomorrow, let's deal with tomorrow first.
Tomorrow, yes.
And we're going to come to Friday afterwards, right? So tomorrow, you're saying people can walk and drive on Corn Alley?
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
You
Drive and walk on Corn Alley?
Yes.
But you can't turn
Left.
left. You can
No
turn
left.
right.
You can turn right.
Okay, all right, there we go. On High Street tomorrow,
Yes.
can you walk or drive tomorrow on High Street?
No, you will not be
Within
able
the
to access-
hours of the
of the operation. You will not be able to access High Street
either by foot or vehicle?
or vehicle.
Between Connolly and
Independent.
And
Drive.
Independence.
Independence
Okay,
Drive.
okay,
let's say
okay.
that, yes.
Between that area.
Yes.
But the lower portion
But
of
the lower portion of Connolly
and,
is
and High Street
High
is
Street
accessible.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. So within the boundary, that's the red zone. Good.
zone.
So for those who live and work in that area, in the area of the red zone, what do they do tomorrow? Between tomorrow is between 8 and 12.
Yes.
8 a.m. to midday.
Midday.
What do they do in those 4 hours?
Well, for sure, if they will not be able to use their vehicle if their vehicle is inside. However, they can walk, or if they have a business outside of that zone, tomorrow, as we advise them, try to leave before 8 a.m. Try to leave before 8 a.m. Right? But we will not prevent them from traversing by foot, except
On High Street.
Between those areas
Between
that you
those
mentioned.
Yes.
Again, where's the area on High Street that people can't walk or drive tomorrow between 8 and 12?
From Independence Avenue down to
Corn
Corn
Alley.
Alley.
Okay, all right, between 8 and 12.
Yes.
All right. The other areas in the red zone, apart from High Street, that no walking or driving between 8 and 12 tomorrow.
Yes.
The other areas in the red zone, it's a pretty big area.
You can walk,
You can walk.
Yes.
Not drive.
not drive.
Okay. All right, so that's parts of Old Palm Road, parts of Parliament, parts of Independence Drive, Parliament Drive, Queen Elizabeth Highway. Pretty expansive. Quite a lot of
Yes.
businesses and people live there and so on.
Yes.
So they can walk. They can park outside the red zone and walk during those 8 to
Now
12.
remember, if they already parked in the red zone prior to 8, because the close down starts at 8, then they'll be allowed to have their vehicles within that area.
Okay, okay. And that's 8 a.m. sharp. So as the clock strikes 8 o'clock, you go to lockdown.
Yes.
Okay, all right. We got some drone footage, by the way, and these are some of the areas that will be affected. Let me see if I can. Okay, so that's Queen Elizabeth Drive going up. Good. Highway going up. Good. So all of this area, so that intersection will also be closed tomorrow. That's you know that intersection, right?
Yes.
Coming out onto Queen Elizabeth Highway.
From Parliament. Right?
From Parliament Drive, I believe.
Yes.
Right. So that area will be closed as well.
No, that would
No,
be
okay.
accessible.
Let's bring in Superintendent Kwame. Please go ahead, please.
Yes, I could tell you all the different junctions that would be closed for tomorrow.
Please go ahead.
Let me start.
We're gonna come back to you, ACP.
Let me start
Yes.
on the northern side.
Good.
So we're starting just outside Showell's Toys Gifts and House, where I like to use landmarks that person know exactly what you're speaking about. So you're coming up Newgate Street, you could make a right onto Connolly. You're not able to turn left onto Long Street, left onto St. Mary Street, left onto Nevis Street, or left onto Tanner Street. You could go straight down to New Street, you could go up to South Street, and then traverse the market. As the deputy said, the lower portion of Connolly would be available for both motorists and pedestrian alike. If you happen to travel up South Street, you will eliminate the left turn at Temple Street, straight up. There would be a roadblock at the junction with Cross Street, because if you go straight up South Street, they will be arriving at Independence Drive, and you cannot make a right turn. So a traffic roadblock will be there. So you make the right onto Cross Street, and then you could wind your way around to Surveyor Richard Street or wherever you want to exit. And then when you reach an Independent Drive, by everyday service station, there will be a traffic control point also there. If you're coming from south, you would not be able to go straight across Independent Drive. So you have to go up to Queen Elizabeth Highway, and then you wind your way up to where Michael's, Mount West, wherever you're going. When you reach that junction with Culture House, Hills Promenade, you could go straight across, and you make a right turn, go to Factory, to Sajiko area. You will go down to Teacher's Place, that's between Grammar School, and you could make a right, get back on Old Perm Road, or you go to Campsite, where Miss Gwenton used to live, Campsite Road, and you could go wind away over to Woods, and you get out from the red zone.
Okay.
If you happen to come up to Old Parham Road now, you cannot make that turn onto Coronation Road. There will be a traffic roadblock also there.
That's where the prison is.
Yes, at the prison. So you could go straight down and make a right at this Lions roundabout and get yourself over to Woods. You would not be able to go down to Cross Street. So that's exactly the area for the red zone and the different traffic control points that will be. And police officers will be at every strategic point to give direction, to assist the public, make sure the traffic is flowing so that we don't have this congestion and so on. Built up a traffic.
And you'll have roadblocks at that
Yes,
point.
at
So
that
it's not as if you can make a mistake and say, oops, I ended up in the red zone. You can't oops and end up in the red zone because you'll be blocked from
Yes,
anyway.
there are the roadblocks, so then police officers will be there to give direction and support. And for parking, as the deputy said, this rising front ground, we cannot fill that place. Michael's Mount, we cannot fill. But persons don't want to walk That's the problem we have. You're going to the bank, you want to park in front of the bank. So for Wednesday and Friday, we try to eliminate that as much as possible. And utilize, it's just for a couple of hours. Just cooperate with us. And Friday, when we have the movement of these convoys coming from different locations, respect the siren.
No, go for it. No, go there. We're going to deal with Wednesday when we come back to Friday, right?
Okay, right.
Good. So that's tomorrow. Soft lockdown between 8 a.m. to midday.
Yes.
And you heard the boundaries of it. Back to you, ACP Joseph. Thanks so much, Superintendent Kwame. You mentioned, ACP Joseph, that if after you assess situations tomorrow and Friday, you determine that you need to reduce the red zone, you will make an announcement to the public.
Yes.
I noticed you never said if you need to increase it. Is that a possibility?
It said both.
Oh,
Reduce or
okay.
increase, yes.
Okay. All right, so there's a possibility it could be even a wider,
Yes.
expensive area as well.
It will.
Before I come back to you, Captain Travis Pennyfeather, my bad. Captain, the role of the ABDF in terms of assisting the police on this, how is the ABDF working on that?
Good evening to you, good evening to the viewers. ABDF's role is, as it always has been, we directly support the police within the realm of security. Security is everybody's business, but like most things, there is a lead, and that lead is the Royal Police Force. And I believe its most dedicated and legislated supporter is the Antigua and Barbuda Defense Force. For this particular exercise, we are supporting in the realm of capabilities, filling the gaps of capabilities that the police may have identified, additionally assisting with personnel. So you'll see us as well with the police at the VCPs and PCPs that they would establish, as well as planning. We assist with identifying planning considerations that they may have overlooked, or expanding those and exploiting those that they would have identified. For this particular one, you will see the Brigadier, Chief of Defense Staff, Brigadier Talbot Benjamin. He will be actually leading tomorrow's event. As you see, there will be perhaps a few dozen individuals from the Chogm Task Force doing that walkthrough on High Street. And there will be a plethora of discussions, questions being asked with respect to plans for the opening ceremony. As DCP said, tomorrow and Friday is focused strictly on ensuring that we are prepared as best as possible for securing the opening ceremony. What we have also done is invited other members of the Chogm Task Force from the civilian side to engage us in conversation. They can ask us questions as well, and we will ask them questions. What times are they working with? What is their expectations? So that we can ensure that we're all singing from the same sheet of music.
Excellent, excellent. We're going to come back to you, Captain Pennyfeather, on this. It seems a very obvious question, DCP Kwashi, but let's say, for example, emergency vehicles, they'll be allowed through if needs be.
Yes, of course,
okay,
of course.
Okay. Seems I just want to make sure, because they're also watching on.
Yes,
they want to be absolutely sure.
They're part of the planning process, from EMS to the fire service, and obviously you have the police and the military already on board. Yes, so they're part of the planning process.
Excellent. This seems to be a very expansive rollout. I don't want numbers, because that's I don't want you to give us classified information if you're security planning. But are you making sure that you covered, for two things, covered for this exercise tomorrow and Friday, and making sure that you're covered just in case you have to respond to anything else?
Yes, sir. Our main role and responsibility is to protect the citizen and visitors to our shores of Antigua and Barbuda in Antigua and Barbuda. And so we are very strategic in doing so. So where we don't have the physical human capacity, there are technology that will assist us, and we're very capable and equipped in utilizing those technologies to bridge the gap. So full coverage around Antigua and Barbuda while we're executing the Chogm responsibility in terms of planning and preparing for Chogm.
So I get the impression that you've called off individuals from vacation, and you've taken up individuals from desk duties and so on?
All those were factored in, and yes, we have that covered.
Very good. All right.
In addition to what the deputy would have said, we would have also, we realized the impact that the exercise will have on the general public in terms of movement outside of the identified area of operation. And there should be some congestion and some choke points that we would wish to control. So we also figured that into the planning, so additional resources have been deployed to deal with non-Chogm related activities, movements in the city to ensure people get to where they're going. So,
okay, thankfully this time when you're having this exercise, schools are out,
yes,
so that
yes.
helps. But when you're doing the real thing, schools will be in November.
Yes.
Let's wait and see.
Well, okay, we'll see. That's a fair
Let's
point.
wait and see.
It might be some announcement will be made about that. Okay, fair enough. So you will have officers who will be directing traffic at these choke points, at these other areas, right?
Yes, correct.
So we're not going to have people quarreling and trying to gesticulate and trying to say who comes first and so on. You're going to have officers making sure that everything is smooth.
Yes.
Yes, we will.
Okay, good, very good. Good to hear that. All right, so that's Wednesday. Anything else you want to mention about tomorrow? Or we covered Wednesday?
Just to make sure
Sure.
that they understand the city is not closed.
That's the red zone. Okay. We're going to put up that image again. By the way, these are some drone pictures of all of this. Let me just make sure that I'm able to. I think this entire area which I'm looking at is covered by, is part of the red zone, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
Good. All right. So that's all in the red zone. Good. So those were images were taken earlier today. So you will not be able to do that between 8 and 12 tomorrow, especially on High Street.
High Street.
No movement on High Street, walking or driving.
Correct.
Good.
The upper portion of High Street,
Okay.
yes. So you can go to ECAB, is ECAB at the junction of Market and High Street.
Just not between.
No.
West
You can go
Canada.
there. Market and High Street. There's
It's
an
fine. No. I'm
Right.
saying the area that it will be
just
restricted.
not be anything above Corn
Corn
Alley.
Good. On High Street. Good.
Yes.
Very good. So that's Wednesday. If you have any questions, please bear them in mind. We'll get to you. 4622996. We'll put up the number for you to call. And if you have a Facebook comment, you can also ask us that. And we'll get in fact, this show is about making sure that you get all the information, correct information. That's why we have the senior members of both forces here with us to talk about it, so that you're not guessing and spelling, speculating, conjecturing, seeing something on social media, hearing some rumor from a friend of you who sends something on WhatsApp and says, well, I hear that it can't do this. No, this program is about ensuring that you have the correct information ahead of tomorrow and ahead of Friday. So if you have any question, clarification, please bear that in mind. So that's soft lockdown tomorrow, as you see, between 8 and 12. So I would advise you to plan your routes accordingly, plan your schedule accordingly. Some businesses will be affected. DCP Kwashi, so you said you spoke with some, before we get to Friday, you said you spoke to some of the business operators, and they're generally receptive.
Yes, they are. We had an online meeting with the Chambers of Commerce and Associate, and then we would have taken to the streets in engaging with both the businesses and also the residents within the affected area.
Oh, you were part of the team?
Yes, sir.
Wow, so you took to the streets as a senior member of
Yes,
wow,
senior
good stuff.
members,
Very good.
Superintendent
Very good.
Ellis and Superintendent Roddy from the fire department and
Simmons.
Superintendent Simmons, along with military personnel. Is it
Lieutenant.
Captain Penfield was there too.
Lieutenant, no, he had other tasks, but he said
okay.
he was.
I sent her.
Yes,
Yes,
Mr. Bunting, he was with us,
Excellent.
and Constable Morris. So we took to the street from maybe shortly after midday until Minister 6. We walked the streets.
Today?
No, on Friday.
Friday.
Friday, yes,
Friday.
yes. We had a good time.
Good.
We had a
Very
good time.
Very good. All right. So businesses, and of course, you would have heard in our newscast, some businesses have already indicated that they have made some adjustments tomorrow and Friday. For example, MBS, the Magistrates Court on High Street, for example, has indicated that it'll be closed tomorrow and on Friday, and those cases have been pushed to next week, Monday as well. All right. In fact, let's get to, we have a call. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead, please. Hello, good night. All right, not hearing anything. Is the caller still there?
Good night.
Good night. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
I'm good, thank you.
Go ahead,
I
please.
want to know if you work at the post office. between Nugent Avenue. How will we get towards the mall?
You heard? Okay. Could you repeat the question, please, just to make sure that our guests have heard? Could you repeat the question, please?
What I'm asking that you work at the post office. The post office is between Nugent Avenue now. How do we get there tomorrow and Friday?
Okay, thanks so much for the call. Really appreciate it. The post office temporarily moved to Nugent Avenue. Right, that's the former NTTC. Yes. So you want to?
They're not affected.
They're not affected.
They're not affected. No,
No.
they're not affected.
Not affected. Good news for you. Tomorrow, both tomorrow and Friday.
Yes.
Not affected. Okay, good. So you're good at the temporary location of the post office at the former NTTC building, which is now the Sir Catherine Lake Medical Center. So you're not affected by that. All right, good. So 4622996. If you have another question, we can get you in on this as well. We're gonna get to Friday now. I think we have another call holding shortly, but we'll get back to the telephone lines. Friday. Let's start off with your DCP Kwashi. Friday's a hard lockdown. What's the difference?
No pedestrian traffic, no vehicular traffic within the red zone. So the pedestrian traffic is not limited on that day to High Street. It's within the zone.
So no movement on all these roads that we mentioned. Okay, let's go back to the telephone lines. Good night, caller. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Mr. Bartlett.
Good evening to you, ma'am. How are you?
I'm very well. I have a question for the lady on the panel there, Superintendent Kwame.
So you have a question for DCP Kwashi and
Yes.
Superintendent Kwame. Okay,
If
good.
I drive up Newgate Street, turn in Connolly, and go down, I want to go to the bank, Royal Bank. She mentioned another bank, but I'm going to Royal Bank. So I go down the road, park somewhere down by where, the center, down there. That is okay? Come up Newgate Street, come down Connolly,
And make a
and
right.
turn down.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You could make that right and Connolly. There is no problem. Make that right and Connolly.
That is quite fine.
That is fine.
Quite in
Thank you
order.
very kindly.
You're most welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
So you got good news. Good. So our two callers have so far gotten good news. They're not affected by this tomorrow and on Friday. All right. So let's take as many calls as we possibly can, as quickly as possible. We're going to come back to Friday to discuss in more detail Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, caller. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead, please. Good night, caller. Not yet? All right. Jahim will tell me as soon as the call is ready. Jahim, it's already tell me, right? Okay, good. All right, the call is ready. Good night, caller. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Good night. Go ahead, please. We're going to ask you to just turn down your television.
Hello?
Yeah, we're going to ask you to turn down your
Hi,
television.
this is going to ACB in Village Walk. Can we go that route?
ACB Village.
Okay,
yes.
could you repeat the question, please?
If you're going to ACB in Village Hall.
If we have to go to ACB at Village Walk, can we go that route?
Yes, yes.
That could
That's
be-
fine.
Yes.
Yes. Friday Road.
Friday.
It's not affected.
No, no.
Okay, Fransdale Road not affected, ma'am, so you're good to go on that, on Village Walk. All right?
Coming from where?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, thanks.
What-
So she wants to go to Village Walk, so.
Yeah.
But then again,
Somebody
you
has
ask
to
who's
come
coming
in.
from where.
Somebody has
Depends on
what
if
I
she's
don't
coming.
what I don't want to be misunderstood is if you're going up Independence Avenue, so to speak, to get to ACB, you can't drive there. You're gonna have to go around. So I think persons may have the misinterpretation that if I'm going to somewhere in town, then I'll be affected. But if I'm just passing through, then I won't be. I don't think that is the
No,
no,
but
the
we
intent.
already,
No.
but the road
The
is
red
Market
zone.
Street.
Red zone.
Right. So I think
And
if the lady is
Cornwall.
coming from, let's say, All Saints Road and she needs to get to ACB, she'll have to do that detour
But
around.
that's Price Hill
whether
Road,
it
why
be-
did he come
American
to
Road.
town?
I'm just saying,
American
if she's coming from that direction to get to ACB Village Walk, she'd have to go around. She can't go through town to get to.
In other words, once she's not going through the red zone.
Red zone, right.
There you go. Okay,
Once
so that's crucial. All right, thanks so much. That was really important to have raised. Good night, caller. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead, please.
Hi, good night to the panel.
Good night.
Good night.
Good evening.
I would like to find out the registry on High Street on Friday. Nobody would the registry, the civil registry will be closed on Friday because a lot of us do business at the civil registry with marriage and birth certificate and what have you. Would that be closed Friday? Thank you.
Thanks for the call. Really appreciate it. We'll get a response. It's okay. We'll get a response in relation to the civil registry. There was a release sent out today. I'll confirm that. So I'll get the question. I'll get a response for you by later, caller. Thank you so much for that. We're gonna get back to another caller shortly. Let's get good night, caller. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead, please. Yeah, not yet. Okay, we should be getting one shortly. So Friday now. That's it. You mentioned it's a harder lockdown. No vehicles within the red zone.
Right. Another component that will be added is that we will have convoy movements. And so while Friesdale Road and let's say Valley Road and Sydney Wallins Highway will not be on a total lockdown, you will have at intervals, you may encounter a convoy. And so it's no different than you hear the siren, you pull off to the side, you allow the traffic to go through, and then that's it. So that is a next component now. So you will have vehicular, escorts from different areas coming towards the city area. But the road will not be on lockdown. So the escorts passes and then traffic continues as usual.
Okay. Those are so some of the other highways outside of the red zone will have convoys passing.
Yes, okay. But it will not be on a hard lockdown where it's restricting movements.
Okay. We're going to come back to that, DCP Koshi. Let's go back to the telephone lines. Good night, caller. Go ahead, please. Good night.
Hello, good night.
Good night. Go ahead, please.
Good evening.
I person here on Friday. How can I get on Lowell, Long Street and King Street?
Coming from which direction?
Superintendent Kwame is asking, coming from which direction, caller? Hello? Is the caller still there?
Hello?
Yes, he's asking, coming from which direction?
I don't know. From asking.
From the north or south? Which end? From Newgate Street end or from Market Street end? But Market Street will be open. If you're coming from south, Market Street will be open.
From Market Street.
From Market Street, you're able to go up to Market Street and make your left turn, and Redcliffe Street to make your turn, and High Street to get to the lower portion of Thames Street. So there'll be no restriction from either end.
Thank you so much.
Even you approach Newgate Street, you'll be able to make it at left-hand Carnally and then proceed to the lower portion of Carnally.
Okay, caller, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And that caller did very well in terms of not having her television volume up. So please, when you're calling 4622996, just turn on your television, please. You're going to hear an echo, and it's going to have a delay, and at least a 4 or 5 seconds delay, and it's going to confuse you. All right, let's go back to the telephone lines. Good night, caller. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead, please. No, not okay. All right, I think we lost that one. All right, please call back 4622996. All right. So same area, same streets for Friday.
Yes.
It's just that you can't walk or drive on these roads.
Between 6 a.m. and 12.
You said walk and drive, right?
Correct.
Okay. Wow. That's gonna be a little bit more difficult now. So how will individual? Okay. So let's say they live in the red zone. What do they then do? Is it that if they park in the area before, is that they can't leave their homes and go anywhere? What's going to happen? Let's start with DCP and then we come to ACP.
Well, if they live in the area and they need to get to work when we would have done that walkthrough, we did not encounter much issues along that line based on the persons we would have spoken spoken to. So persons indicated that they'll be out before. Some would have said, based on their job, they would already be back home. And so that is the position we're at. We're also weighing in on the fact that there's some businesses and government departments that would have taken a certain course of action as it relates to when they will open on that particular day. And so that too will further assist in terms of movements of those persons in critical areas.
All right, because some offices would have either closed or taken the decision
Right.
to open later
And
on afterwards.
Yeah.
For example,
Correct.
MBS Medical Benefits has said it is on Friday it's going to open between 1 and 3 for the pharmacy on Neva Street, and I think it's going to open 1 to 4 for some of these other offices and so on.
Yes.
So some entities have taken that
Yes.
decision. All right, but okay, let's say I live within the red zone. I'm leaving. I want to say let's say I want to walk from my home because I can't drive. I'm walking from my home to work, but I can't walk in the red zone. So is it I have to tell my employer I can't come to work because I live in the red zone, I can't move?
You're asking me to tell people to tell their
No,
employers.
I'm asking, what do I do? In other words, I'm giving you a hypothetical DCP. So I live in this red zone.
Yes, so
What
so
do I do?
in I don't want to put things out there like that. So under those circumstances, it's on a need-to basis. That's the most I would say. So based on what we would have encountered, the majority of persons did not fall into that categories. We would have shared our contact number with persons, so in the event that there's any sort of difficulty, they will have access to us. Our officers are there, so if they would have radio in, this is the situation, we would have to make a decision there and then. But what we're asking and what we have gotten support for is that persons are willing to comply. And so we're very appreciative that they are working with us in order to ensure that we are prepared for November 2026, Chogm.
Absolutely. And of course, that's the spirit of cooperation that is required, right? So the security forces, they want to make sure they have everything smooth in terms of their preparations. And so that is critical. And they're asking you for your cooperation as much as possible, right? Let's go back to the telephone lines. Good night, caller. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, good night. We're with you. Go ahead, please.
Yes, if you have to go to the credit union on Old Palm Road or Red Cover, will you be able to access on Wednesday and Friday?
Yes, that's an Old Param Road. So you'll be able to travel east and Old Param Road.
I'm not hearing.
Yes, you'll be able to travel east and Old Param Road.
Of course.
Oh, to get to the credit union?
Yes, there is no restriction on your behalf.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, caller.
You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate it. I appreciate
Okay.
the caller there making that sure. Again, once you're not going through the red zone to get
Right.
to the old power, to
Right.
get to the credit union, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so crucial. It's important, ladies and gentlemen, because there will be individuals joining us along the way, so would not have been with us since the start of the program. Just very quickly again, please, either one of you can just mention for us the main areas of the red zone. What constitutes the red zone? Just very quickly, please. You don't have to go through all the streets, but the main streets in the red zone.
Okay, so on the northern side, you have Newgate Street. That's from Khan Alley up to Independence Drive. Then you make a right onto Upper Bishopgate Street, left on the roundabout at Government House, and go straight up Old Param Road. Then you go into the road west of the Antigua Grammar School, over to Factory Road, right onto Hales Promenade, House of Culture, and to Queen Elizabeth Highway. Then right onto Independence Drive. You would not be able to make a right turn at the junction of Independence Drive and Queen Elizabeth Highway. Keep left, and then you will be able to go down to New Street and access the market area, and Khan Alley is the western boundary for the red zone. So Newgate Street, South Street, Thames Street to Independence Drive over to Hills Promenade Road, and then tie into Factory Road. So it'll be access. So if for instance you're traveling from east to west and Factory Road, as you reach by Sagicor, you just make that right to Nugent Avenue and get over to Woods. There is no obstruction at all. Use those side roads, and that's what we're appealing to motorists to do. Plan your route, because there would be delays. So you have to plan your route and just follow the direction. I guess we do it for Carnival. I don't see the hard and fast rule. It's the same event when we have Carnival and we have the street parade. It's the same red zone that we farm around. We never really identify it as a red zone, but it is similar to the Carnival rules and parade and so the restrictions. Yes.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So again, if you have any quick question, comment, if you're not clear on something that you would have heard here, if you have a specific circumstance that you want to raise with the officers, now is the time to do it. We're having all about 10 minutes or so left in our program. All right, so that's on Friday, hard lockdown, and this one is a longer period. It was between 6 and 12, so 6 hours of this hard lockdown on Friday, 4 hours tomorrow of a soft lockdown. That's between 8 and midday. All right?
Yes.
Got it right?
Yes.
Perfect, excellent. So here's the other $64 million question now, ladies and gentlemen. In terms of ensuring that during the period, you'll be making your assessments. You'll be making, you'll be checking to make sure that this zone works for you in terms of your planning for Chogm. At what point will you say to the public, we're going to stay with this, or we're going to expand or reduce it? DCP, and we'll go down the line.
How soon? I don't want to put a time frame to it. Because they are outside of us, there are other stakeholders that we must engage. So based on our observation, when we meet as security personnel and put something together, then we will have to report back to our bosses, and then there's a task force that is overall in charge, and then you have the higher commander's intent. We have to factor in persons who will be our international partners who will be coming in for Chogm also. So there's some variables that we must take into consideration before an immediate decision is made. But what I can say is that we will re-engage, we will up until even after Chogm, because when Chogm is over, we still have to come back and say thank you very much, Antigua and Barbuda, for a job well done and for supporting us. So we will be in constant communication through the media to educate persons, businesses, residents, and update them accordingly. But I do not want to say 2 weeks' time and then it is not
Fair
2
enough.
weeks
That's a fair
time.
That's a fair response, DCP Kwashi.
Or we may need to run the exercise again, for example, with a little more factors into consideration. We don't know so, but they will be informed. Persons will be informed.
Okay. And of course, it's a matter of tweaking as you go along to make sure that you get it right, you get it perfect or close as possible to perfect for November. Yes, very good, very good. All right. As I have you here, before I get back to you, Captain Pennyfeather, in terms of the external partners, because I'm pretty sure that in addition to working alongside the police, the ABDF is working alongside its other partners in the region, the RSS possibly, and even beyond in terms of other forces. Let's talk about the kind of coordination that you're seeing and enjoying with other partners.
Well, as you mentioned, Garfield, there are 56 partner nations, or 56 nations that are part of the Commonwealth, and so we would have engaged those partner nations for support with respect to providing what we consider external security, primarily with the maritime and the airspace. Some supporters, including the RSS, they have dedicated or committed maritime assets to assist. Others have committed aerial assets to assist. Obviously, I'm not at liberty to discuss what those are and who they are. But there has been a general positive response from those whom we would have engaged. So with that in mind, the public should be aware that you will see military personnel in different uniform from what the ABDF wears. But you should not see them operating on their own. There will always be what we will consider liaison officer with those individuals. So I would say that as it is now, we have a very positive feedback from those who we would have engaged.
Okay. So the members of the public see, let's say, for example, another soldier in another kind of camouflage, you shouldn't start posting on social media and say, oh my gosh, the sky's falling.
Correct. Correct.
All right. Because there's a tendency to do that in the social media age, you see.
Yes,
people just very quickly send around a quick message, and of course, there's misinformation. Sometimes even disinformation. All right. Very good. There's that coordination.
One other point. We've spoken a lot about the traffic disruptions and what happens on land.
Right.
But we must remember that there is a port that is right down the road. The intention and the recommendation is that during the exercise, and especially during Chogm itself, you will not see, or there should not be, any vessels, especially cruise ships and that sort, on the dock that has a line of sight on High Street, because it provides it presents a security risk. All right, so those sort of disruptions will exist. What I want to emphasize is disruption is not the aim; it's just an unfortunate result of the security element. All right, so that's just what the position is.
And I'm pretty sure that both the ABDF and the Royal Police Force in Antigua and Barbuda are trying as best as possible to minimize the disruption, to ensure that as much as is possible is minimized. But you will have to do what you have to do to make sure the security of the...
As much as possible without compromising security.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Very good. All right. We can take a few more calls, but I want to get 4622996 if you have any other questions, especially in relation to Friday. I'm particularly pleased with what you mentioned, DCP Kwashi, that your officers who are manning these blockades will then, for example, if an extraordinary circumstance is presented to them, they can always escalate the matter up to yourself or to the commissioner or to the member of the senior, the top, the high command, and then you can make a decision on a case-by-case basis. All right, so that's a fair point. I think that's a reasonable position. Again, the Minister for Public Safety, the Attorney General, Minister responsible for the police force, Sir Sedwar Benjamin, urging members of the public as well to be cooperative with members of the security forces. This is their job. This is, in other words, the last thing we'd want is for there to be some sort of incident. And we say, well, they didn't plan properly. Well, that's why they're doing that. That's why they're doing this, to make sure that they plan properly. They take into account all the variables and account for them. And they were looking at members of the security team, including, to my immediate right, DCP Louisa Benjamin Kwashi and other members of the team. You've had some long days.
And nice.
Yes, indeed. But,
I want to add,
yes, please.
During our walkthrough, we would have encountered a few elderly individuals who requires assistance, and we would have shared our numbers with those individuals in the event that they need their person that assisting them need to enter the zone, how to go about doing so. You understand? So we would have thought, we learned too from the citizens, get the feel, the idea how we can best serve them during that period.
Okay. So let's say, for example, if somebody needs dialysis on that day.
Yes.
Yeah, you have preparations for that.
Yes.
Okay. And you'll make
Contingencies in place, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the person can't say, well, see, I couldn't get dialysis because of this operation.
Right.
The police forces are making sure that everything's fine. All right. So let's look at, in the final few minutes of the program, let's look at for November 1 to 4 for Chogm. There will, of course, by the way, will this be, whatever you finalize on in terms of the red zone, will that red zone be the same for what happens in Chogm?
Chogm is actually from the 30th of October to the 6th of November.
Wow.
But I can't answer the question with just a yes. Reason being, all events won't be in the city area. And so you have the youth forum taking place, Five Island, you have the business forum at Coolidge, West Indies Cricket Ground. Yes,
Right.
former Sticky Wicket. and you have two of the
By the
forum.
way, they toured Sticky Wicket today at Coolidge Cricket Grounds for the business forum to get a sense of what needs to be done. And part of the preparations, by the way.
Yes, and you have AUA. Those are just the conference venue. The pre-events we spoke of that takes place in October would be at Johnny St. Louis. So dependent on where it is happening, a different posture will be adopted. We're familiar, well, Antigua and Barbuda is familiar with what transpires when things happen at AUA, for example. So that will be in effect. There will be something not identical, but similar to for cricket, for sticky wickets. Obviously with some tweaking because we have the airport to factor in and we also have the fire station to factor in. So just as we would have gone ahead and done something specifically to what will happen in the city area, we are going to be doing the same for those events. And again, we'll be taking to the public in educating them, sensitizing them in advance.
Excellent. Excellent. We thank you for that. So of course, it's a work in progress continually. Again, if you look at by the way, and this is for Friday, the civil registry, there was a question earlier, the civil registry will have some disruptions on Friday because of the situation. For tomorrow, for Wednesday, it's a soft lockdown. So individuals not parked within the restricted zone before 8 are advised to seek alternative parking, and alternative parking can be at Antigua Girls High, Antigua Grammar School, and St. John's Cricket Ground. That's right.
St. John's Rising Sun, yes.
Good. And in relation to the areas affected, the following establishments within the operational area will experience disruptions: Treasury Building, Civil Registry, Government House, any other government-affiliated entities within that area.
Right,
APUA,
and the businesses.
And the businesses.
Yes, so this one is specifically to the government and statutory.
Yes.
Yes, one is for the businesses.
Right,
so,
absolutely,
yes.
absolutely. And so your private businesses, stores, other business establishments outside, from private sector, outside of government entities will, of course, once they're in the red zone, will be affected between 6 a.m. Friday and midday Friday. Okay, softer lockdown tomorrow. So businesses, once they're not on High Street within the perimeter that we mentioned,
Yes.
will be fine to open.
Correct.
For tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Final question, and please, if you can each chime in as well, starting with DCP Kwashi. So there will be independence on the 1st of November, Chogm on the 1st of November. The food fair normally happens. I mean, the independence activities normally happen. Then now we have Chogm, and there's a cricket match as well, and so many things happening at the same time. So what do you? I know that we will have some more time to discuss that specifically, but independence and Chogm happening at the same time, food fair and so on. There might not be a food fair, or it might be a little bit different. Let's see, but what would you say to the public in terms of your planning and your preparation for that, for all these events happening at the same time?
What I would want to say is stay tuned to all media houses. We will provide all relevant information in advance of the time. The different forum leads will also be assisting in terms of the education of what will be happening. We are all in this together. We are all Antiguans and Barbuda working towards making the nation of Antigua and Barbuda proud in putting on the best ever safe and secure Chogm 2026. And we are more than capable and able, especially when we work together. So I'm looking forward to the citizens' continued cooperation and collaboration in ensuring that we meet our desired outcome.
Excellent. So the roads will be looking a little bit different in some areas of St. John's tomorrow and Friday. You'll have far less traffic in some areas tomorrow, even far less on Friday, because you can't walk or drive within that red zone on Friday, especially because it's a hard lockdown. ACP Joseph, yes. What if somebody wants to fly a drone over the red zone tomorrow? Is that allowed?
I know there are certain restrictions to drones in certain areas. I would hope Somebody like ABS.
That's a possibility.
Once
But
the
anybody else.
relevant authorization has been given, no problem, right?
But we'll have to get authorization.
They will have to be an authorization, I think. For sure, drone will be part of our operation in terms of security. I can't tell you how they will be operated, but drones are certainly part of the security apparatus for the police and the military. And they will be part of our exercise, particularly on Friday.
Excellent.
Right.
And your final comment, final point to members of the public ahead of tomorrow and Friday?
Yes, I will want to join with my deputy in pertaining to security. I want to say security is everybody's business, and it takes everybody to make Chogm a success, not just the police, the military, and the Chogm task force. You need the citizens on board. These restrictions obviously is going to affect people's lives, daily lives, but it's only for a moment. We are trying our level best to reduce the harm done to both citizens and business, but we're doing it in a way that we don't put can you imagine that Chogm comes on and even an accident is to happen during an exercise like this, opening ceremony, with another vehicle entering the red zone when there should not be any vehicle in there. So we are training as if we're having the event. So bear with us. We will try to minimize the harm. We'll try, if our exercise is completed and the CDS and the commissioner say index by 11:30 or 11, I have already given Mr. Kwame instruction immediately after the ended. Lift up all the barriers and we'll reopen the area.
Yeah, so I mean, if the top brass are satisfied on both the defense and police forces,
yes,
you could actually end it a little earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
Once they give that signal,
okay,
we will lift the barriers.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yes.
Yes, for me, as I always say, tourism is everybody's business. So tourism is our main industry, and we all respect our tourism product, and we try to give it our best shot at all times. Road safety is everybody's business. When you're driving in road safety is, all of us have to play our personal role in road safety. Also, Chogm is everybody's business. Antigua Barbuda is inviting 56 nations on our soil to host this big conference, and we all have to play our part, whether directly or indirectly. It's safety. That's the watchword I want to use this evening. When these convoy movements, it's not about speed, it's about safety. So we'll be briefing our drivers, because they will be driving dignitaries, so they have to be very extra cautious on the road. And also to the general public, please respect the sirens. There is no need for you to speed. You hear the siren, follow the highway code, you pull to your left, and you give way to the emergency vehicles. Once we have that, as our Deputy Assistant Commissioner Julia said, we don't want any accident. We try to avoid these, because you have to wait and disrupt the whole flow. Anytime a convoy gets into an accident, it disrupts the whole flow of the event. So please, let us respect this siren. Play your part, play your role by just adhering to the traffic rules. Pull to your left when you hear these sirens so that we'll have a smooth flow. So at the end of the day, Antigua will come out for high praises for hosting such a successful Chogm 2026.
Absolutely, and that's what everybody wants. That's what you want in the security forces. That's what the entire populace wants. That's what the entire Commonwealth wants for an event like this. A final word to Captain Pennyfeather. So in terms of, as we look forward to tomorrow, your message to the public, and in terms of the role of the ABF again.
I think from an ABDF standpoint, it's about confidence. Confidence for the public in their security forces, and confidence in the security forces that we have the support of the public. As ACP Joseph said, we're training the way we intend to fight. If we don't practice it, we won't know what the shortfalls are on the day of. And the last thing you want is to embarrass Antigua and Barbuda and have our own people say that their security forces were ill-prepared. It is unfortunate that our preparation may cause them some discomfort, But I think a short time of discomfort is far better than a long term of embarrassment for the nation. And so just be patient with us and be confident in your security forces and the powers that be, as they say, that what is being done is not being done to harm or to intentionally disrupt, but simply to ensure that the nation is ready to host this most important event.
Okay, excellent, excellent. A few questions are still coming in as well. I think we might have touched on one or two of them before, but just very, very quickly, because of course we want to try as best as possible, even though we're out of time, to get as much information as possible to the populace. So one of them was wanted to know what happens to people living within the red zone on Friday. I think we kind of touched on it, but you say it's a case-by-case basis, depending if they need to move out of it, if they need to come out of the red zone.
Correct.
Because they're not supposed to walk or drive in that area on Friday. So, Deputy Commissioner Kwashi would have answered that earlier. Here's another one. Would I be able to walk along Newgate Street and Old Palm Road on Friday, trying to plan my route to work? From what I'm hearing, I'm understanding not, confirming. So Newgate, would I be able to walk along Newgate Street and Old Palm Road on Friday?
Yes, you'll be able to, because you're not indirect impact to the red zone. That is the border of the red zone up Old Palm Road.
So it's about where on Newgate Street, because remember on Thames Street they're allowed to traverse,
Right.
and Thames Street leads on to Newgate
Street, yes.
And so in using some of the outer perimeter, that area, Old Palm Road is a very long street,
yes.
and so it's dependent
On where?
Right? So it's really difficult. But in the event they encounter an issue, there'll be an officer there to direct them as to the nearest route, how to get about.
Right.
Excellent, excellent. And that inspires a lot of confidence that you'll have your officers, you'll have the roadblocks, you'll have officers outside of the red zone to ensure that you, as much as possible, control the flow of traffic and to make sure that it's as smooth as possible. And you won't have these bottlenecks and chokeholds, right?
Wonderful.
There's one last one. People that work at Lower Thames Street. Did we touch on this?
Yes,
Lower
we
Thames
did.
Street.
Yes, we did.
That it's okay?
They're not affected.
Not affected.
No,
okay.
it's just about planning your route earlier to ensure that you're there on time, because maybe the most direct route to where you're planning to go on Thames Street, you might not be able to use that route, but that doesn't mean you can't get to Thames Street.
Absolutely. Again, route planning, coordination. You have the information. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. And that's what this program is about, a special edition of the Road to Chogm. When last have you seen such a high level of security forces on any one set? It's extraordinary. I suppose it just goes to show that it's a really special event tomorrow, a crucial event tomorrow. It will ensure the country is better prepared to host Chogm, right? And that's what the security forces are doing. So you might have some inconvenience, you might have some disruptions to your day, but look at it this way, it's all for the good and it's all for the benefit of the entire country and the entire Commonwealth. Because we want a smoothly executed Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, November 1 to 4. And security is fundamental, it's quintessential for executing smoothly for Chogm. So that's why Deputy Commissioner Louisa Benjamin Kwashi, that's why ACP Samuel Joseph, that's why Superintendent Elson Kwame and Captain Travis Pennyfeather are, and their respective teams. I mean, it's a broad team, of course. We could only accommodate 4 in our studio on our set tonight, but it is a significant team. So, and we thank the heads of the two forces, the Police Commissioner Everton Jeffers and the Chief of Defence Staff, Brigadier Talbot Benjamin, for making sure that the officers are adequately prepared and are in a position to execute on this. So thank you so much for having joined us. If you have any more questions, please ask them on our social media pages, and DCP and ACP and Superintendent and Captain will, as much as possible, try to assist. And of course, we'll report on this extensively tomorrow. We'll be at some of those points. We won't violate, so we won't walk and drive where we're not supposed to walk and drive, but we will cover it as best as possible tomorrow, making sure that we cover it as only ABS can. All right, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. DCP, thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you for the drum that you're doing. Really appreciate it. I think
Thank
the
you.
grateful nation appreciates it. Thank you so much, ACP, for your work. ACP Samuel Samuel Joseph. Thank you so much, Superintendent Elson Kwame and Captain
you.
Travis Benford.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. We look forward to doing a sequel. Look forward to having this all four of you back, possibly after Exercise Stronghold. Yeah, and we can discuss it. All right, Exercise Stronghold again tomorrow, 8 to 12, soft lockdown. Friday, this Friday the 10th, 6 to 12, hard lockdown. Red zone on Friday, no walking or driving. Tomorrow, no walking or driving on a section of High Street that will be shown to you. That will be indicated with the police officers and with the barricades tomorrow. That's it for a special edition of The Road to Chogm. Look forward to your company tomorrow when we'll have another edition, the regular edition of The Road to Chogm every Wednesday. And tomorrow's discussion will focus on the Youth Forum, which will take place at the UE5 Islands campus in November. I'm Garfield Burford on behalf of the entire hardworking team. Pleasant night. Good night.